New boot scooting. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Nope.
And by afternoon, I mean...
There you go.
Good evening, everyone.
evening.
Welcome to 30ish. Yes, it is the evening. If you're watching our Instagram live, you know, but you're not. So
You're not,
perfect.
so it doesn't matter. You're watching it later on.
Yes, you are.
It's fine.
Yeah, we had to postpone, and we're recording at night. So hello. Not that you guys even notice ever.
No, you don't.
Hi Shay.
Hi, Brianna.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Tonight.
Tonight, I'm good. I got a bicycle for like $100.
I want
It
to
was
ride
awesome.
my bicycle.
Pretty much is what I'm going to be singing every time I ride
Did
it.
you ride your bike yet?
Not yet. It's in my car.
Why isn't it out of your car? On the streets?
Because I got here to see you.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It is.
Damn, you like just got it.
I got it like at 5:30. So
I need to get a bike. And then you can ride to my house.
Yep, that's
Laporte.
100%. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just ride my bicycle to your house.
Let's ride. That'll be fun.
Yes.
Well, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I got stung by a bee yesterday.
Well, that's because they knew their little stingers were a-burning.
Yeah, they must have known that I did a wonderful podcast on them, that they just wanted me to realize the strength of their bodies, their sting chambers.
Their sting chambers.
And it was really because I was weeding my grass patch that I'm growing. I'm growing a grass patch
that
for the
also
event
can be
space. I'm not... Okay, here, we're talking about blue Arkansas grass.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I apologize.
But anyways, I was weeding my grass patch, and
Yeah, you were.
the sting chamber... I accidentally kneeled on the bee, I think, because I like moved my leg and then I moved it up and I was like, wow, what is that weird sensation? And I looked and it was like a bee like flopping around on my
was
leg.
just trying to do my
and
job.
I flicked it off. But I think I got it before like it got me all the way, because it wasn't like huge and I couldn't find the stinger in my leg, because aren't you supposed
So
to like
maybe he
find the
survived.
stinger?
Usually, yeah. So maybe he survived. Or she. What was it?
I think she might have, except
She
that
might
I
have survived.
flung her. She must have been a girl, because guys don't do shit.
No.
They wouldn't be
Just getting
fucking all up
raped.
in the weeds.
Yep.
And I think I picked its dandelion.
Oh,
Sorry. But at least I didn't poison it.
that's true.
I picked it.
That's good.
But how fucking ironic that I got stung by a bee for the second time in my life yesterday after doing a podcast on them.
They just knew. I also think that maybe Sundays are a good day to do lives.
They probably are. Yes.
Yeah.
Thursday evening's kind of weird, and that's
It's
fine.
a little, people are just,
It's still going to be posted. It's still going to be great.
it's still,
No one's watching our live. That's fine.
it's kind of actually amazing, to be honest.
It's actually less
I-
nerve-wracking.
It is, isn't it? Right?
It is. I'm not as scared about people saying things while I'm talking.
Except they can say things after.
They can be like, what the fuck were you doing?
Why did you make that left-hand turn all crazy?
What?
From the review. That is our only review, and it's about...
Oh, the review.
There it is.
Oh, from our one Apple review?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also, today when I was coming to your house, I was parking into your parking lot, but then I was like, I shouldn't do that. There's only 2 spots left. So I started backing up, not looking at anything behind me at all. And there was a car across the street trying to like turn right. I wasn't in their way at all, but they were probably like, what the fuck is that 30ish podcast car doing?
I'm going to write a review, a bad negative
I'm
review.
going to go review them on Apple. And then I'm like, God damn it, why am I such a horrible driver? So unaware.
It should be actually more like, maybe we shouldn't have stickers on the back of our cars.
I know. But where else would we put them? Your
It's
bike.
true. My
Your
bike,
scooter.
My scooter with the dice on them.
Oh my God.
But see, this is the problem. We don't have live people that are, well, not. I mean, hopefully that all the people that are watching this are alive, but
Some
whatever.
of them aren't.
I mean, to each
They're
their own.
watching from the other side.
100%, which we do cater to those guys too. But I feel like when we don't have that pressure on us, the more we ramble.
We are
Yeah.
a rambling man. Well, speaking of rambling, should we talk about our drink?
Oh, yeah. Is
Look
it a
at this.
rambler?
Look at this sunset surprise.
Is that
No,
what that
that's
is?
not what this is called.
No.
This is called, it's, it kind of has to do with food. because it's blood orange and what?
What?
Forget, I was trying to do something with your topic or something, but anyways, we're drinking a blood orange drink. God damn it, I can't think of anything clever.
It's fine.
So literally what it is this delicious blood orange juice that I forget the name of that you can buy at King Soopers, but it's like literally only blood orange juice.
Perfect.
And it's good.
Yeah. It is
And then
really
it's
good.
some vodka because we had the vodka on hand. And of course, Topo Chico. And then once you mix it all together, it makes it super frothy. So it's like you put an egg white in it, but you didn't. So this is vegan, everyone. And that's our drink.
That's the end.
And cheers.
Oh, I
She
fucked up. I'm
always
not.
forgets to
I know.
cheers,
I'm not
so-
engaged. This is not good. Anyway, yeah.
What did you roll, Shay? Speaking of my weird pun I was trying to make.
I rolled cooking, and I'm just gonna let everyone know right now that this is a giant PSA. Like, if you, without giving too much away, it's pretty graphic what I'm gonna be talking about. So just cover your little baby ears, or don't listen to my half if you're like have really sensitive.
It's not about cooking babies,
No. It's not about cooking children, so don't worry.
but
But
maybe.
it is kind of about cannibalistic stuff. So, anyway.
Hashtag food.
Hashtag food. Yep.
Bringing that crime all around. Always. I'm excited, and I'm also.
But yeah, so big PSA.
Ready.
If like, I just want to let everyone know because I'm not gonna be an asshole and be like, all right, so this is what's gonna happen without letting anybody know. So
Am I gonna
it's
listen?
a little graphic.
Are
Yeah.
we gonna hear about corn on the cob?
I mean,
No.
no, we're not. No, we're not. It's a different kind of milk soaked
If
bath.
your corn's on the cob,
I mean, what? Okay. What are
if
you talking
your-
about?
If your corn was on the cob, that's the kind of food we're talking about because it's human corn on the cob, which would be what? What would be an equivalent to corn on the cob for a human body?
Your teeth? Ugh. I don't even know. See, this is
I
the problem.
literally
We
have no
don't
idea.
any-
Okay, I
what-
know. I don't give a fuck. All right, y'all. Well, should we get into this? Because
You
this is
didn't
the
even-
longest.
But
Oh,
you didn't talk about what you
I don't want to tell you.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to be talking about history today. And specifically, some really fucking dope Fort Collins history, which is where we at right
true.
now. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to share with you. And the Poudre River Valley, protect it, love it. This is
Don't be.
our episode.
Okay.
Here we go. We'll catch you on the flip side. I remember where the and is on the Instagram Live, so now we can say bye-bye. See you later, alligator. Welcome back.
After 45 seconds.
And I thought that was about to be a bass guitar, but it was a truck.
It was the Seinfeld segue. All right.
Perfect.
Talk about nothing.
All right, so
Here we go.
I rolled history, y'all. Just a quick reminder
If you didn't remember
from 4 seconds ago.
from 4 seconds ago.
It was like a minute.
I mean,
I lose track of
With
my
the
shit
little
in a
ad,
minute.
it's like 45 seconds. So you're fine. You're going to keep up with me today with your drink?
I'm gonna try. All right, so I'm doing the history of the Poudre River Valley and the Arapaho people that lived here.
Ooh.
And we're the people that lived here before we took it over. The Anglo-Saxons. The fucking whites.
Nice.
Like how I threw that? I don't know, just throwing it out. Anyway, what? So, before I get into a little bit about the Arapaho tribe and people,
Okay.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the Cache La Poudre River. So, the Poudre River Valley is the valley amongst the Poudre River, which is
It's full of the
in
Death
Fort
River.
Collins, Colorado, and where Shay almost drowned, and it's where we live
Cheers.
right now.
It's true.
It's the river Shay almost drowned in a couple
Mm-hmm.
episodes ago. And so originally the Cache La Poudre River was named the Pateros Creek, which I didn't know that till
I didn't know
today.
that.
Which I've seen Pateros Creek like brand and like that name thrown around, but
Mm-hmm.
That's the
There you
original
be.
name.
There you be.
Also, the story behind how the Cache La Poudre got its name is that there's a couple different stories about it, but the main story is that these trappers that were French they were in a huge snowstorm. I think it was kind of near Bellevue area.
Okay.
And they had to end up digging a pit to bury a lot of their like gunpowder and their like shit in this pit, and then they covered it with like what looked like an old campsite so people wouldn't like go under it.
Nice.
And so then when they came back to it, they had all their gunpowder and shit still, and Cache La Poudre is a French phrase for where the powder is hidden. That's one of the stories. Which I didn't even know that. I thought it was some guy named Cache La Poudre that founded the Poudre River, but apparently I didn't pay attention or didn't learn that much about Fort Collins.
That's okay.
And then also another name from some of the Sioux Indians that lived in the Fort Collins area.
Oops, sorry.
Called the river Miniluzahn, which is not the right pronunciation, but it means swift current.
Yeah, no
That's
shit.
Cache La Poudre, okay?
Yeah, swift current.
Yeah, swift
Got
current. You
Got
should have
it.
known that, Shay.
I should have known that.
I should have told you. Miniluzahn. That's...
Oh,
I'm going to learn some
French.
Arapaho. Okay.
Oh, some Arapaho. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that ain't French.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, so let's talk about the Arapaho, shall we? So these are the Native Americans that historically lived on the plains of mostly Colorado and Wyoming. They were allies of the Cheyenne tribe, and they're also have been loosely associated with the Lakota and Dakota tribes as well.
Oh.
And by the 1850s, the Arapaho bands, which a band of Native Americans was when it was like multiple families forming together to like create their little like living situation. So it was like 200 people of different families. That was like a band of
Band of people.
a band of them.
Not just like a band of repressed teenagers.
The
Got it.
Arapaho ended up splitting up into two different main tribes, the Northern Arapaho and the Southern Arapaho. Okay. So since 1878, the Northern Arapaho have lived in the Eastern Shoshone on the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming. And the Southern Arapaho live in the Southern Cheyenne Reservation, I believe it's called, in Oklahoma. So a lot of the Arapaho originated too, like by the Great Lakes in Minnesota, and they traveled down following the buffalo, and a lot of them settled along the Poudre River and
Makes sense.
Wyoming, Colorado, stuff like that. But so around 18 sorry.
Jesus.
So around 1800 is when two main tribes settled around the Poudre River Valley area.
Right.
The Arapaho being one, like I'm literally been talking about this whole time.
Wait, who was it? The Arapaho.
The Arapaho.
Okay.
And they lived on the plains mainly, so like down from the foothills. And then there are the other natives, and they were called the Ute tribe. And not as many things are known about them because they were known to be more violent amongst the settlers because they fucking protected their shit.
Violent,
And
do
they
you mean
didn't-
standing up for themselves? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Mhm.
Cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they wanted people to back the fuck up, and they literally guarded the mountains, so like people didn't go up in the mountains because they were like,
Good for
get the
them."
fuck out. This is my shit.
Like, you can have all of that, but
Yeah.
just this one section, and they're like, yeah, no, we're going to still
Yeah,
take that. We're going to need that
you.
from you.
So, apparently there was even a huge 3-day battle amongst the Ute and the Arapaho that left both of them just depleted and exhausted, and I don't think anything really was resolved of it. But anyways, they just kind of left each other alone, I think, for the most part. Those tribes, at least. So now that I've given you a little backstory on them, let's talk about a man named Warshanen.
I was like going to say, like, did you hear him howl in the
Or
background?
as a lot of people know him as Chief Friday. And he's a very famous man that helped establish a lot of things in Fort Collins, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why he's
Okay.
a badass and very
badass
important
son of a
figure
bitch.
in our area of Fort Collins.
I believe you.
Basically, this is what happened. So in 1831, this guy named Thomas Fitzpatrick was in the area. He was a well-known fur trapper. He was a scout. He led lots of expeditions to this area, and he was very familiar with this area. He also was he was just like traveled around a lot and actually knew a lot of different native dialects and was able to be kind of like a translator. He worked as like
Right.
an Indian agent is what they were called back in the day, which is like someone that was able to be a liaison between like the government and the Native American tribes to be able to like translate basically and like help each other communicate with each other. So anyways, that's Thomas Fitzpatrick. So he was out on an expedition riding around on the prairie, and he came across 3 Arapaho children that were out wandering by the Pooter, I guess.
Sounds like a horror
literally,
movie.
that's literally all they did. They were just children being where they were.
Children of the earth.
So, like a good white man, he found them, so he was like, well, I guess they're mine now.
Yep,
And he decided to take them back with him to St. Louis. All 3 of them. But
Do you know what you guys would like? Would you guys like to work for me for nothing and then bear my children later? And they're like, no,
what?
sure wouldn't. We have to go back home now.
Yeah.
No.
No. So, weird thing. There's only things known about one of the children, not 3. The other 2 children, there's like no stories about what happened to these other 2 children that he found.
Okay.
So great.
I almost don't want to know what
I
the
don't know.
story is with the one that we know about.
The one, it's okay. So this other boy was Warshanen, which means black spot apparently, in Arapaho, just so you know. And he was 6 years old at the time.
Okay.
And so Thomas Fitzpatrick decided, after he took these kids home to St. Louis, and who knows what the other 2 did, he decided to keep Warshanen and adopt him as his own son. And he was like, fuck the name you're given, because it's not the name I would give you.
No, we're going to call you Walter White.
He named him Friday.
Friday.
Yes. So there's 2 stories about why he named him Friday. The first one is that he was found on a Friday, so he was being super fucking creative and was like, well, guess I'll name you Friday. And then the other 2 children, I don't even know where they are. Anyways, so that's one of the stories. There's also another story that, like 100 years earlier, a little book called Robinson Crusoe came out. And there was a character in that book of a wandering man that was found, and his name was Friday. So it could have been like, oh, well, name me Friday because I found you wandering. Or he's just an asshole and was like, I found you on a Friday.
Right.
Either way, he's an astle for stealing
Long
a
story
child.
short, he also was the founder of TGIF.
Perfect. Was he?
No.
Thank
He just
God
really
it's
liked
Friday.
a good deal on some chicken wings. And so
The
that's
food
his
of the
legacies.
people.
Yep.
What?
It's food of the Americans.
Gross.
Anyway, go on.
So Friday Fitzpatrick was his new name,
Okay.
even though his name was Warshanen. Okay.
He's like, can I just go home?
So Warshanen or Friday ended up going to school in St. Louis.
This is just depressing.
So yeah, Thomas Fitzpatrick basically sent him to school like it was his own kid, sent him to school.
Figure
he
it
learned
out.
English, he learned science, he learned math, he learned all the things. And then every summer they would come back out to the western frontier or the plains and do their little expeditions. They'd bring people out, do expeditions, and they would hunt and trap together. And he learned a lot about hunting and trapping from these trips. And they did this for 7 years, okay? They just kept doing this. He went to school,
So that
learned a lot.
he would like go back to where he captured this poor Indian boy.
I don't know if he always went back to the exact spot, but I think he was like around this area. So they did that for 7 years. They did their little trips back and forth. And then the 7th year, they went out on one of their normal trips. And this time they were in the Pooter River Valley. More specifically, I think it was actually by the Timnath area. If you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
And they came across a tribe over there. And this tribe, mainly his fucking mom, recognized him.
Ooh.
After 7 years. She was like, that's my fucking son. He was 15. And she fucking knew it was him. And so
poor baby.
basically he had found his people and he decided that he was going to stay with them instead of going back with Thomas. Even after he had been educated and all this stuff. Yeah.
Shocking.
He wanted to stay with his family.
Shocking.
I just saw him by the river. I just picked him right up.
I thought he didn't belong to nobody.
Yeah, literally. Fucking whatever. I'm just going to take him.
Finders keepers.
So, because Washington was acclimated to the American life, he understood that the whites weren't stopping their little takeover of the world.
Yeah.
So, he knew that they were just going to keep spreading across the West. They're going to keep immigrating here and taking over, the land. And he knew that there was not really a lot that his tribes and his people and other tribes and Native Americans could do about it.
Right.
And he also knew that the military was no fucking joke and that they had basically no chance. If it came to that, the military would have to do stuff to kick him out. So he was trying... So he kind of acted as a peacemaker or a middleman between his people and the government and kind of trying to explain and kind of creating peace among everyone. He was definitely known as being a peacemaker.
Right.
And obviously he didn't like the fact that this was happening, but he understood it and was able to kind of prepare his tribe, it seems like, a little bit more for what the fucking reality of their lives were going to be.
Which is, at least he had that kind of ammunition.
But ultimately he promoted peace between all of them. He also became known as a strong warrior and a hunter, and he was very respected among his tribe because he was also, he knew he was quote unquote educated, and I mean he definitely was,
right.
He
so
knew
he was
science and math and English and all sorts of stuff. So
nice. Okay.
So then in 1851, all the leaders of the tribes of the Rocky Mountain area met up in Fort Laramie in Wyoming to sign what's called the Treaty of Fort Laramie, which we should go to Fort Laramie
fancy
someday. Which, is just a written agreement to slowly give up all their land.
Just a little tricky.
Just a quick little signature here and there.
You get all of it. You get a little bit more, actually. Just go ahead and sign this dotted line.
Yeah. So this was just one in a series of treaties to just basically hand over all their land.
Right, of
this
course.
was just one of them. But Friday was also at this meeting of the leaders, and he acted as an interpreter, and also, again, he was just very well respected amongst the government and his people, so he was able to go there too.
Nice.
So after this treaty was signed, they were all invited to Washington, D.C. to meet Mr. Millard Fillmore, the President of the United States. How lucky were they?
They were just in for a bunch of book learning.
Thanks for signing this. Now come over to Washington and see how we live and how you aren't gonna live, you little fuckers.
Pretty much.
Pretty much said
you get this dead spot of land, and then you can just cry about it, and it's fine.
Yeah, well, they had some land when this treaty was signed, but then slowly the rest of the series came out.
Right.
Where we'll talk more about that later. So, Friday ended up coming back to the Pooter and got even more tribe cred, I call it. Street cred, but for the tribe, because he was like, oh, you went to Washington, D.C., you met the fucking President of the United States. Oh my God, you know English. So he got more tribe cred, and because they loved him so much, they made him chief.
Oh.
So then he was known as Chief Friday. Hashtag Chief Friday.
Huh. Okay.
But
what a weird
I was reading
life
some
this poor
other
kid
things
lived.
about that was from some elders of the Arapaho tribe, and they said that he wasn't really a chief because in what they considered a chief is someone that goes out and hunt and is the leader of the hunt, but more he was a chief of peace.
Right.
But anyways, again,
splitting hairs.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, So in 1861, the government decided, hey, you haven't given us enough, so could you sign another treaty? So they did. It was called, or they presented another treaty called the Treaty for Wise of, I'm sorry, the Treaty of Fort Wise. Wow. The Treaty of Fort Wise.
The Treaty of Fort
and
Wise.
this treaty was basically that the government would take the land from the tribe where they had lived for generations, even though, so they were still living on some land around the Pooter, and they had some land that they could stay on, but
Right.
ultimately it wasn't working out for the settlers, that there's, tribes around.
I
and
mean, why
they didn't have
would
the same manners and whatever.
Oh my god.
So the tribe groups, with this treaty, the signing of the treaty, would then get to not live in the Pooter Valley anymore, but get to be moved down to beautiful, very similar landscaped. Wouldn't even notice it's a different place, Oklahoma.
I was like gonna say, was it Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oklahoma. So
I mean, if you close your eyes, it's like you're in the same other place as Colorado when you close your eyes.
no offense to Oklahoma, great state,
Very different.
no mountains, no. It's not Colorado.
There's
Where
that's a
these
polite way of
people
saying that. Yeah.
literally live for their whole
Yes.
generations and lives. Anyway,
But you're like, this is the same.
yes.
this is the
So
same.
they wanted to move to Oklahoma to live on these reservations that they had so just gracefully given them.
I know.
And so just selflessly.
I mean, it took a lot of time to put up all along the perimeter like that barbed wire fence. Mm-hmm. Okay, like that doesn't just come out of like nowhere.
No,
Okay,
doesn't.
you need to be appreciative of what we have taken away from you and then given back to you. Like it's like we ate this beautiful land and then shit it out, and then we gave you the shit to
Yeah.
just somehow recycle that.
Yeah, just fucking take it.
Figure it
You
out.
fucking ungrateful
And if you don't take it,
assholes.
like it's just like, oh, it smells. Fucking assholes. Jesus Christ.
So, with this news, Chief Friday, who was usually a peacemaker, was like,
He was like, "What
fuck
the?"
you."
He's like flipping tables. He's like,
yeah,
"What the
literally.
fuck?"
And his people obviously thought the same thing.
Good for them.
Some chiefs of the Arapaho did end up signing this treaty and moved down to Oklahoma, but a lot of them still resisted the idea and refused, obviously. And then a really unfortunate thing happened in 1864. Where some motherfucking cavalry soldiers that were this was actually, so 1864, this is like during the Civil War, in the East, but some motherfucking cavalry soldiers from Denver and Fort Collins, and even some from Fort Collins, rode out on the Eastern Plains, came across a camp of Arapaho and Cheyenne people that were camped along Sand Creek because they were trying to, they were just trying to get away. And the fucking soldiers decided to attack and kill most of them. It was like, I think I saw it was 700 soldiers, and they ended up killing like 100 Native Americans that day, mostly women and children.
I was waiting for that. The ones that they're like, hey, go for them. They don't have bows and arrows.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And up until this point, I think, there was probably some quarrels between settlers and tribes for sure, but I don't think there had been a lot. I don't know this for sure, but it didn't seem like there had been a lot of soldier attacks on groups of natives,
No
just
shit.
camping, literally not doing anything.
Okay.
So this was called the Sand Creek Massacre. I don't know if you remember hearing about that.
I do, but I think I was half asleep. I'm not going to lie
Yeah,
to you.
no worries. Me too. So obviously this created a huge uprising, and it was because it was okay, you guys are already taking all of our fucking land, and now you have fucking assholes, 700 of them coming to murder our wives and children. Sweet.
Perfect.
So this was this among the tribes along this area. They were like, fuck you. So that created a lot of quarrels between,
Tension, yeah.
lots of tension for a couple years.
I
and the
wonder why.
Yeah, and the young chiefs of these tribes did not like what was happening. And they decided to rise up and fight against the U.S. government, again, causing lots of tension. because, you know, they weren't bending over for America anymore, you know? So, fuck that. But America's always got to have the upper hand, don't
I
they?
guess so.
Anyways,
Jesus.
so Chief Friday, again, tried to keep the peace, but, and they tried to stay in this area as long as they could, but it was super hard for them during this time. Also, they were used to hunting along the river, the Poudre River and the Thompson River in Loveland. And they mainly hunted deer and rabbits and, you know, things that lived along the river because all the buffalo were killed because of all the fucking settlers. And when the Native Americans hunted buffalo, they only took what they needed and they fucking did it sustainably, but that's not what the white people do.
They're like, but we need our hats.
Yeah.
I just need the one buffalo for my hat.
But I need to sell this in fucking Europe.
I do. But just it's one eye and it's one claw.
And then I'll throw the rest away
Yep.
in the river.
Pretty much.
So
Then everything else dies and it's great.
So again, the Arapaho Chief Friday's tribe was having a really hard time surviving. And he actually ended up having to call to the territorial governor at the time to ask them for help, to ask him for help and supplies, because his people were going to starve, then they weren't going to survive the winter if they didn't. So the territorial governor ended up sending them supplies. And
God, that is so shitty. That's like, I mean,
it's like the beginning of the reliance of
but
the
it's
government.
just like, they're like, yeah, if we weren't here, thank God we're here because you would have starved. And like, if you weren't here, don't even get me started.
Yeah, seriously, exactly. It's fucked.
But yes, thank you for being here. Can I have my ration of stale bread, please? Thank you.
Can I have thanks?
Thanks, dicks.
So after this winter, Chief Friday moved his band next to Fort Collins. And it was actually into a newer cavalry fort that was along the river. And the fort was originally put there to protect the settlers from the natives.
But of course.
The natives needed to seek protection from that fort. But the nice thing was that they let them live in there. Even though a lot of these Native Americans were being forced to move either north or south. So they were able to live in the fort with their tribe until 1969. That's when we made a landing that was Luna.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to say that.
Thank you. Even Stevens.
But apparently it was under very difficult conditions, which I wasn't able to read much more into the difficult conditions they were in while living inside the fort with the settlers. But I'm sure it wasn't the best.
No, I'm sure.
So in 1969, the government what am I even trying to say? The government ended up forcing the rest of the Arapaho out of Colorado and into the reservations in Oklahoma. Chief Friday, though living peaceably among the settlers that whole time, obviously they didn't want to go to Oklahoma. They were like, we don't know the landscape.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? How are we supposed to just live in Oklahoma? We don't even know what to do.
Right.
Yikes. And so Chief Friday had asked, can we just keep the land north of the Poudre River as a reservation for ourselves? And they were like, silly little boy.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Literally said no because there were 16 settlers in a stagecoach route there. So fuck you. So yeah. So then they still didn't go to Oklahoma. They decided to go up to Wyoming because they were a lot more familiar with that kind of landscape. It's much more similar than Colorado. Probably on some of Kanye West's land that he has 1 million fucking acres in Wyoming. Did you know that? Like 2 million acres in Wyoming?
No.
Yeah. He's actually there right now taking his bipolar pills. Anyways.
Okay.
And running for the president of the United States.
Hashtag yikes. But it wouldn't be our worst choice.
So yeah, they ended up moving up to Wyoming. And after a number of years of being there, they were actually accepted onto the Wind River Reservation.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah, so that's another history story for another day.
That sounds like a spa.
Have you heard stories about Wind River? Have you seen the movie Wind River?
No.
Wind River. There's some stories.
Is
That's
it
another
like
history story?
Is it like
I don't know. There's some. Well, the movie Wind River is about some fucked up people, guys that live on the reservation, and they are fucked up and some
Perfect.
murder and shit.
Ooh.
But it's like
that's not good. I
it's
shouldn't
fucked up.
ooh at that. That's
You'd
fucked up.
it's right up your alley. It's crimey for sure.
Yikes. Okay. Well noted.
So yeah, after a number of years, they were accepted into Wind River. Just erase that.
Never.
So are in Wind River Reservation. And that's actually where Chief Friday's descendants live today.
Oh.
In Wind River.
How did he pass away?
In Wyoming. So he just died. I actually don't know how he died.
So he just died. He
died.
passed away. Okay. I mean that's okay. Like
died.
sometimes it's just like he died of old age or whatever.
Yeah, he was like in his 80s.
That's not a bad way to go.
He died
especially
in 1881.
You know what? To be 80 years old and to die in 1881 is pretty
Dope.
actually impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Because he had that good blood
He did.
that wasn't tainted by the settlers.
It wasn't.
With
What?
salmonella. Just
Okay,
kidding. That's
yes.
not it.
That's not it at all. But we're not going to go more into that because we're not dicks.
No. So, yes. So up until Chief Friday's death, he served as an interpreter for the rest of his life on the Wind River Reservation. Cannot say that. Holy shit. And also served as an Indian agent, just like his daddy. I mean, is that man that stole him from his fucking family and his two friends that we don't know where they ever fucking went.
Do you know what though? Like the fact that just time and time again, just like would get like cut off at the knees, and he just was still just like just a good old like he's just a fucking Mr. Rogers. He's just like, you know what though? It's
roll
gonna
with
be
the
okay.
punches.
It's gonna be okay. Just say hello to my friend Miss Kitty over here, and we're gonna talk about some stuff today, and it's gonna be fine.
Literally.
It's gonna be okay.
He was the Mr. Rogers
He was.
of the Arapaho.
Yes, he was. I'm sure they called him
Mr. Friday.
Mr. F. What's up, Mr. F?
Damn.
Jesus.
This is also not fact.
No, it's not at all. Like, not that we have to disclaimer that.
So, yes, he died on the Wind River Reservation. Wind River Reservation.
well, at least he got to
In 1881 in an unmarked grave. So you can't even go see where he was buried.
Really? Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder why.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Or did they do that like because of his wishes?
Well, I don't know. But here's...
Because maybe he just wanted to be the colors of the wind.
Well, it could also be because of this. So let me tell you.
Okay.
We're going into a new story. So let me tell you a little bit about the Arapaho Council Tree. Have you ever heard of this?
I just heard about that in the Pocahontas. I'm just joking. That's not where that was.
That was
I just
Grandmother
think about
Willow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what-
she was probably kind of like a
she
council
was-
tree.
I bet you she ran some councils.
So listen to this dope story about this council tree.
Okay.
There was a tree on the Poudre River.
Mm-hmm.
The spot is where the Poudre River intersects with I-25 right now. So if you're ever driving over I-25, Interstate 25,
And you don't see Shay's body, then give it a look.
because she might be in the
I
river.
may have made a bad decision again. Anyway, go on.
So where the Poudre River is intersects I-25, there used to be what was called the Arapaho Council Tree.
Used to
And
be.
it was just fucking wait.
I'm already angry.
I
I'm
was reading
already
about it
upset.
and I was like, we have to go. I will drive off of the freeway to look at it. But it is a was. So anyways,
Shocking.
it was 100 feet tall and 16 feet around the trunk.
Holy shit.
It was north of like that intersection of I-25 and the Poudre. It's a little north of there in like a flat
Like,
area,
give
I guess.
me,
So
like,
the area is still over there.
But give me like a...
You know that police station? I think it's...
Oh, it's right there.
It's like not... That's south of the Poudre, so it's like a little bit north of that across the Poudre.
Okay,
Like by
so it's
where
still,
fucking Walmart is, dude.
Okay, so it's still like we're in Fort Collins. I thought like
Yeah.
if you were talking about like...
Oh, no, we're in Fort Collins. We're like by Walmart
I just didn't know if
Supercenter.
I just didn't know if you were like saying like by Wellington or something. Okay,
No,
got
by
it.
Walmart Supercenter by Timniff.
Oh,
So according to early pioneer accounts, this is where the Arapaho gathered, and other American Indian tribes would gather near this tree and socialize and trade. There was said to be ceremonies held there, and lots of stories about
It's like
some of the
fucking
things that
Avatar.
took place there.
Jesus
this
Christ.
council tree that was where I-25 is. We could see that spot right now.
I drive past it like a lot.
I know. We need to go hang out over there. Anyways, so another thing that some people speculate could have happened here is because this was an actual ritual that the Arapaho people did of how they buried people. So
Again,
they
like Avatar.
buried their dead in the branches of the trees. They didn't bury them in the ground. They would
Interesting.
lay the bodies on a platform and then put them on tree limbs and like wrap them a little bit. And
Like
they would put them on the
cocoons?
tree limbs because to the Native Americans, the body belonged to nature.
Mm-hmm.
And from a tree open to the sky, the spirit was able to freely fly away.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their tradition. So that was a speculation of what maybe this council tree, what they used to do there, but I don't think that specific tree was what they did there. I think this was just a gathering spot for different tribes and different for, generations. So it was actually a tourist spot until the 30s.
Like a seventh wonder of the world kind of thing.
Yeah, and people used to be able to go there and all the time have picnics, hopefully pay respects and not be an asshole, but hopefully, respect the land. But one day a farmer let a field fire go out of control, quote unquote. I hope that it wasn't quote unquote, but a fire got out of control and burned the goddamn tree to the ground. Isn't that sad? 100 fucking feet tall, 16 feet wide.
I just don't have any words.
I know. So,
That's really upsetting.
yeah. I still want to go over there.
No,
I think you can still walk over
Well,
there.
I'm still
but-
you can probably still feel the presence of it for sure.
Yeah. But now, I don't think that there's something on the exact spot of where the council tree was, but in this
Really?
area,
There's no plaque or anything?
well, there's an interpretive like sign, and it's like a plaque that stands along the Poudre River Trail on the east side of the Rigdon Reservoir. It's like that Arapaho Bend natural area that's over right off I-25, and there's like a dirt road. And it's like off Strauss Cabin Road and Horsetooth.
Yeah.
So there's like a trailhead there, but now that they're,
Right.
I don't know when they made this special. It's just a sign that talks about like the history of the council tree and like
Right.
the significance. But it's there, and it describes the significance of the tree. That was actually named by settlers, and it was also referred to the council tree by Chief Friday too. But and to make this sign, they included Arapaho elders in the process. So that's good. They actually talked to like the people that put together this, this sign actually went to the Arapaho people and were like, what should we put in this? Like, we want it to be, like right for you. And this is also where I found out about how Chief Friday wasn't really like a chief, because in their language, a chief is someone who's just like
Right.
a warrior. Like, he was a warrior, but
Right.
he was more
A
just
different
like
kind.
a peaceful
like
man.
an intellectual guy.
Yeah. So, so they definitely got the input of the elders, which was awesome. So yeah, I do want to go see that sign and see.
I think it would be kind of cool.
Yeah, we should. And that meant a lot to the Arapaho people because obviously the perspective of the tribe is usually not sought out.
Right.
And so they really appreciated that they got to to tell them like what they should write about the council tree, not like what the white people thought or the settlers, were thinking
Right.
was the meaning. It was,
Right.
like actually from the history of the ancestors. So, basically let's just listen to the people that actually experienced the things.
That's right.
Maybe. Anyways, but first we have to give a fuck about it. So let's give some
we
fucks.
can barely
and
give a
listen.
fuck about like the earth.
Well, we gotta give fucks
It's
about
true.
a lot of shit. So I'm gonna end my little story with a
it.
quote from Chief Niwot.
Okay.
And he was in the Boulder area, And he says, people seeing the beauty of this valley will want to stay, and their staying will be the undoing of the beauty.
Aw.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyways, take me to the river, bitch.
Take me to the river.
Let's cleanse ourselves in the Poudre River Valley.
I did it once.
And yeah,
Kinda
that's
sucked.
my story about the Arapaho
That was nice and
and
informative.
the Poudre River.
It's nice.
Thanks.
That was really.
Just
Oops.
spitting a little.
It's okay.
But yeah, that's all I got.
I liked it.
And I hope you guys learned some shit. She just literally threw her cat on
I
the
did
ground.
not throw her. She just landed with style.
She did. She's such a big lady.
She's a girthy bitch. But I liked that. That was.
Did you learn some things?
I learned
Were
some
you
things.
interested in that?
I was.
Also, just makes me like I live
A little
literally
more
next to the
connected
Poudre
to.
River.
A little more connected to.
Yeah.
You know, where the roots are.
And we need to like remember that shit when we're going to get fucked up and
yeah.
float down it.
Or drown in it.
Or not drown. Just ask your spirit guides, Chief Friday, to whisk you out
I think
of
he was there.
out of
He
the river.
I swear to God, like there was like that little branch, and if like it was like the angels that were like going, oh, or whoever the people are, the spirit guides or whatever it is, but just leaning out a little
aliens.
branch, and I was like, I just grabbed it, I pulled myself up. It was like a higher calling.
And they were like, you are free to go.
I was like, I learned my lesson.
Not around the river bend today.
I still think about the like from the beginning of the story, his little friends though.
Yeah, like what happened to his friends?
I hope they're okay.
Like
They
everyone
they're
that
dead
I
now,
like
but-
everything I watched about it was like, no one knows what happened to the other two friends, but Warshanon. I
Yeah.
was like, well, at
I
least
mean, I
he's
guess
okay.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I
And
mean,
became like
it's just
a hero.
it's just it was just different back then. Like you don't have those kind of records. Like
I wonder if they were like girls, so they didn't get as. I don't know.
I mean, who knows? But who knows,
Who the fuck knows?
right?
I don't know. Thomas
Okay.
Fitzpatrick.
I dig it though.
He seemed like a nice-ish guy, so
Right.
hopefully it wasn't anything weird or he didn't like lose them on the way. Oh shit! I forgot I had two other ones with me. Well,
It's
they'll
fine.
figure it out.
It's
See
fine.
you later.
Bye. It worked out great for Pocahontas.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should get into your fucking food story.
Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed that nice,
happy.
happy-ish
Not
one.
happy.
It wasn't happy, but you
It
know,
wasn't.
way less uncomfortable than what's coming at you next. So, again, disclaimer. And I'm probably going to give you another disclaimer after the ring.
Ba-da-da-da.
Oh. No, wait. No, it's
It is.
ring.
Oh yeah. It's our Disney turning of the page.
Yes.
Da-da-da-da.
Again, for the third time, here's a disclaimer.
This shit's gross.
It's just kind of gross. So, I had cooking. It's seriously, it's really gross. If you are squeamish, like maybe don't listen to this, and I hate to say that for
our listeners.
for all of our listeners that we have, but
Am I gonna have to leave?
you might get a little squirmy.
Oh my god.
Here
I'm
we
just
go.
gonna scream a lot.
Yeah. And it might not be as bad as everyone thinks it is, but I just want to be courteous to everyone, like who just I'm just trying to be nice. Anyway, okay, so let's play Who Ate It Best. I'm just joking.
Oh my god. What's in my
And
mouth?
Cue the vomit noises.
The corn on the cob of the body.
Sick.
That's what I was trying to make a joke about this and that, and
Yes. I
in
know.
the intro it
I-
just didn't come out the
I
same.
applaud what you were trying to do.
Hey.
It was good. It was good. It was good. Okay. So I originally was going to do just good old Jeffrey Dahmer for cannibalism, for
Yeah,
cooking.
you were.
But instead, I decided, because I wanted to kind of trip you up a little bit, I'm doing a little small laundry list of other cannibals. So
Oh god.
Here we go. Here we go.
I
And
was
again-
gonna say I didn't realize Jeffrey Dahmer did so many different things with his people.
Yeah, that's why I was like, well, I had to just, because I couldn't just make it about like his whole psyche and everything else. So, because it's about cooking, right? So I rolled cooking. So this is about
You are
how
a
they ate
clever
them.
motherfucker, aren't
or
you?
disgusting or foul. I even actually kind of got grossed out. I was
deep, dark
I definitely
motherfucker.
had to watch some Friends episodes after every time I would research one of these people. Anyway.
Speaking of Friends, I don't know if you saw Lisa Frank's post on Instagram, but she's doing a Lisa Frank Friends like clothing collab, and it's just like
Shut the
Friends.
fuck up.
It's like Friends shirt, like Friends, but then it also has Lisa Frank shit on it. So it's like so fucking random.
Sounds like it's something right up our
perfect.
alley.
Yeah.
Hashtag sponsors. Okay. Okay. Again,
Lisa?
I apologize for any names that I will butcher because some of these were foreign.
No pun intended.
That was actually pretty good. That's pretty good. Thanks, Dracula. I'm glad you're over there being my wingman.
Always.
Okay. We're gonna
Because
start.
I got a wing bone.
No, that's one bone we do not have. Good job. That you suck. Okay. Anyway, so here's the first up is Armin Muse, and I could
His
be
name is Armin Arm In.
arm in my mouth, which is kind of what he did. Okay. So anyway, so he was posting on
Instagram?
which was I didn't even know this is a thing, and I actually almost looked it up, but I stopped. But he was posting on a cannibal fetish blog, very Julia and Julia. Just joking. By the way, no.
It's hilarious.
Anyway, so it's not at all like Julia and Julia. Okay, so
For cannibals, it is.
So he put on a little blog, like he said he was looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. Fucking true story. And again, like I said, like I almost looked that shit up because I was like, that's not true. And I was like, wait a minute. You cannot start like typing in that shit in your computer. Like I only like researched certain sites with this because I was like, I can't like type just willy-nilly like, how do you chop up and what do you do to season a freaking femur bone? Like I wasn't gonna start doing that. Anyway, so insanely, the ad attracted a good response, and while many, of course, backed out, crazy how they do that. They're like, "Oh, you actually wanted to eat me? I thought you were just joking. I thought like you just wanted to bite down really hard, and then like you would like jerk off my face or something." So anyway, nope. So, but one man did not back out. His name was
deeper around here.
So one man, his name was Bern Armando
Okay, what is with these pun
Brandis.
names?
Yes.
Bern
Armando
That's not that bad.
Brandis.
Wow. Okay.
He did not. He was like, all right, I'm all in. I'm all in to do this.
So he was gonna be sacrificed?
Yes. So the two men met on March 9th of 2001. And at
love at first sight.
at Armin's farmhouse.
At an
in-
arm's length.
Not quite. Not quite. Just buckle up. Buckle up, everybody. So
need
at his
another
farmhouse, you might.
We might need to take a break.
We might need to. So
You haven't even started.
no, because you're gonna start gagging here in a minute. So at his farmhouse in Germany, where Brandis took 20-something sleeping pills and a bottle of cough syrup, and then they proceeded to make a video of Armin cutting off Brandon's raw penis. I don't know what else it would be. I don't know.
It wasn't cooked
It
first?
wasn't
They didn't
cooked
sear
first.
it
They're
up?
like, that is foul. Like, it's not sushi. No, they oh god. So they cut off his penis and then both tried to eat it. Okay, pause. Okay.
He tried to eat it himself!
I don't know if I could do this. Oh god, it's still bad. The second time I didn't even reread my notes because I was gagging when I was writing them. Okay. Yeah, so they both
Partook?
so I thought like, did they do it like Lady and the Tramp style where they like
Also, he was like, all right, ready to eat my own dick.
bleeding
After you literally just cut it off.
Probably bleeding out.
Okay, we need to move forward. We don't need to go into the details.
So
we don't need to think more about it.
We're gonna go into a tiny bit
Yeah,
more
you
details.
can read them. I don't need to think them. This is fucked.
So, finding it too chewy, he ended up feeding it to the dog.
They are a little chewy.
But hey, but for the dog, they fed it to the dog after he fried it in a pan with salt, pepper, wine, and garlic. And then fried it with some of
they didn't do that for them goddamn selves?
No, they just ate it raw. And then, but they fried it with some of the victim's fat. And by then, it was too burnt to be consumed. So, to the dog. That's why the dog ended up with it, because they burnt it. They burnt his dick.
Okay, the fact that you are saying they when one of the theys is whose penis it was is really blowing my mind. Oh my.
It's okay. This was the worst one on the first top, and I left the worst one on the last part. So the middle ones are pretty horrible, but like they're not in this detail, so don't worry.
Okay.
It's not all like this. Okay.
That is insane.
Okay, so
I just don't like newsflash, people fucking do this shit. What the fuck?
There's a blog. So, as the victim
There's probably a few.
Yeah. So as the
The
victim
deep dark interwebs.
Well, obviously, as the victim was laying down essentially on the floor at that point, kind of bleeding out, Armin fed him a cocktail of alcohol and drugs before finally stabbing him to death. He stripped him of his flesh and cut him into pieces, which he then froze and dined on for the next 10 months. He later told a film crew, I took out my best dinner service, his best dinner platters, and fried a piece of
Mom's China,
and fried a piece of rump steak, a piece from his back, apparently. Made
that
what
would
I
be
called
the rump steak.
Yep, made what I called princess potatoes and sprouts. After I prepared my meal, I ate it. Yeah. And then he was arrested finally in 2002 and convicted of manslaughter because the victim agreed to being slaughtered. And he was convicted of manslaughter in 2004. And after retrial in 2006, he was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now a vegetarian, if you'd like to know.
Yeah, because the mystery meat in jail is not as good.
He's like, this is not even a mystery.
This is
a hot dog.
This does not go with fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Ugh. God, he puts freaking Hannibal Lecter to shame.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's disgusting.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, let's
ready for number 2? Okay.
Maybe I need a little more of a drink.
Do you? Ooh, yeah, you do. Pause. Okay, we're back.
We literally
had to go get a little bit of a drink.
We had to get a topper.
Okay, here we go.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. All right. Next up, Albert Fish. Have you ever heard about Albert Fish? Have you ever heard of Albert Fish?
I don't know, but these names are just killing
this one, at
me.
least I like this one because I can pronounce it. Okay, so Albert Fish, he was dubbed the Gray Man, and he murdered an 8 to 10-year-old girl in New York in 1928. So, the serial killer had left a trail of death as he traveled across America, luring, torturing, and killing his victims before befriending the family of Grace Budd.
Befriending?
Budd. Yeah, he befriended them first. That's how he got her. I'll tell you here in a second. So, after persuading them to let him take her to a birthday party, he strangled her, beheaded, and dismembered her before cooking her body parts in a stew with onions and carrots. So he befriended this family, and he's like an old dude. And they're like, yeah, just take her to a birthday party. It's fine. What can happen? It's only through the woods and across a creek, and it's fine. What could happen with that little old man? So.
Well, you can trust people sometimes. You can't.
No, not with your child like that. It's a stranger.
I had an older babysitter woman. She never
Was he a
cooked
man?
me.
Okay, that's fair. But
she had a husband, and I called him Uncle George.
That's kind of cute. But
Gert and George.
Gert and George.
Anyways, they never.
Okay.
But I think I've told you about my reoccurring dream that I had a dream about George, my Uncle George, strapping me to a butcher's table with a butcher's knife, and I was strapped to it. And I did have dreams like he would try to murder me.
Ew.
I don't know why I would have dreams like that, but he was in a chef's outfit with a butcher's knife, and I was on a butcher's block as a child, and he would be like, ha ha ha, like almost like the chef
I was going to say in Little Mermaid. Yeah.
But like it was my Uncle George.
Oh, did he have a curly mustache too?
No.
Nope. Okay.
He did have a mustache.
Okay. Well.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
I just remembered that, so this is somewhat relevant.
Like, they don't
God.
don't all do that. And you're like, but I did have a recurring dream. Like, yeah, I know you did. You're not even here right now. Jesus. So, you're fine. So after he made the stew, police only caught him 2 years later after he taunted her family with a letter describing how he killed her. So this asshat wrote them, first I stripped her naked. How she did kick and bite and scratch. So good on her for just trying to she fought till the bitter end. Unfortunately, he said, I choked her to death and cut her into small pieces. He said this to her fucking family.
So wait, did he just flee?
Mm-hmm.
And then he told them, and then he was like,
by
the way.
I don't know. Like, she was.
Well, obviously he had to flee.
They were hitting a piñata, and then I don't know what happened. I had to leave. So I don't know what happened to your little girl. So, and again, the reason why he got caught because he was just bragging to them. He went on to say how sweet and tender her little ass was roasted in the oven. It took me 9 days to eat her entire body. So he's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to watch Pocahontas after this.
I know. So next up, again, this guy has kind of a weird, different name. So, okay, I'm probably gonna
I'm looking at my reoccurring dream after this.
So,
Uncle George,
right? Joachim Kroll.
Kroll.
Yeah, I might be mispronouncing that, but that's okay. So, over the course of more than 20 years, he murdered 14 people, making him one of Germany's worst serial killers. He stepped up that title and would also eat the flesh of women and girls he killed, leading him to be called the Duemberg, probably however you speak German. I don't know how to speak German. So
I'm German.
Yeah.
Duemberg.
Is that how that you pronounce it? Okay.
No.
He was. He was in.
Oh my god! I almost scared Buddha back under the bed.
So he was a Duemberg man-eater. I'm again probably mispronouncing it, but I'm not German, so sorry.
He's a man-eater, make you work hard.
Pretty much. So after cutting flesh from the body of one of his victims, he took pieces of the 16-year-old who was the victim, buttocks back to his home, and cooked the cuts of meat, and he would eat them. In 1976,
just the buttocks.
Just the buttocks. It was like a big fatty part, right? So yeah. So in 1976, the search for a missing girl led police to Kroll's apartment, where they found the 4-year-old's remains, which is super sad.
4?
She was 4, as well as the body parts in the fridge in a fridge and a small hand cooking in the pan of boiling water.
Why don't you just eat some pork?
I don't.
It's delicious.
Yeah. So Kroll, who claimed he ate his victims to save on food bills, confessed to 15 murders and was convicted of 8, given a life sentence in 1982. He died of a heart attack in prison in 1991. So, wow. He's just trying to save
those fat booties he was eating.
He is.
Jesus.
I'm wondering. So I'm sure you're wondering where the lady's at, right? So.
Where my lady's at?
Right. So here is
Jesus.
Again. This woman is
where my man eaters
from Egypt. So again, gonna mispronounce it. So I'm sorry. Let's see. Why do I do this to myself? Her name was Miss Nelson. We're gonna call her Miss Nelson. And no, we're not. But her last name is Nelson. We're gonna call her Omaima. Okay. Omaima. So, Omaima Nelson, that's not how you pronounce her name, but that's just how I'm going to say it, because it's going to be way worse however else I'm going to say it. So,
Oiama.
Exactly. So, she was Egyptian born. She was a former model, and she moved to the U.S. in the late 1980s, and she later married William Nelson, which is how she God, a very white man's name, a man 33 years her senior. She later claimed she had been sexually abused by her husband and sought her revenge in 1991 by killing, dismembering, cooking, and eating him at her home in Costa Mesa, California.
Yo, that's right by where my fucking uncle lives.
Well, then there you go. So
Costa Mesa, what's up?
So the 23-year-old claimed it was an Egyptian ritual so she wouldn't meet her abusive husband in the afterlife. So she was doing it for eternal reasons. So, you know.
I mean, who the fuck knows?
You know, she's just making sure that shit's stuck, like stuck in, right? Yeah. So during
you ain't following me to no afterlife, motherfuckers.
So during her trial, a psychiatrist testified that Nelson admitted to cooking her husband ribs, barbecue style, quote unquote, before eating him, while she deep fried his hands and boiled his head. She was convicted of second-degree murder and is serving a sentence of 25 years to life. So. And
yikes.
Can I just say, like, maybe just, like, eating...
Let me hear it for the ladies.
Maybe, like, eating somebody, just, like, you get, like, an automatic life sentence. There's no 25 years to life. There's just, like, you know what? You just stay in prison because you don't know how to not eat somebody.
Because you obviously don't think anything... Well, I mean, none of those motherfuckers that can do that kind of shit to people think anything of a human life.
100%. 100%.
Time out. I was just remembering did you watch the David Chang
no
series? No. It was a docu-series, and he like goes to different countries with different like celebrities. Like he went to one with Kate McKinnon. I think he went to Cambodia with her, and he goes somewhere with fucking Chrissy Teigen.
No.
And in the episode, I don't know if she asks it or if David Chang asks it, but he's like, would you ever eat a human? And she's like, you know, if it was offered to me at a fancy restaurant, like, I probably would. Like, if it was with some good sauces. And David Chang's like, no! She's like, you wouldn't? And she was like, dead fucking serious about, like, if people didn't think it was weird, she would. Is what she says on the show. So you can go YouTube that shit and see it for your goddamn self.
Good choice, John Legend.
Yeah, hopefully she doesn't eat her beautiful children. But anyways, that's a whole nother controversy we don't have to talk about right now. So moving forward.
So the Morova family, it's the Czech Republic's Morova family were members of a sadistic religious cult who subjected two young brothers to unimaginable cruelty while keeping them tied up in a cage. Over an 8-month period, relatives, including their own, both abused and tortured them before skinning the youngest boy and eating his raw flesh. I believe there were some stories that they made him eat his own flesh as well while he was still alive.
What?
Yeah. These were fucking sickos. So the torture was broadcast on a baby monitor in the family's kitchen so they could gloat over their suffering, which turned out to be their downfall. In 2007, a neighbor in their town installed a TV baby monitor to keep watch of his own newborn child. It picked up the signal from the identical monitor next door, showing on one of them the victims being beaten, and he was like naked and chained in a cellar. And that's how they were caught.
Holy shit.
The boys were still alive, and they were rescued. And they were rescued by police, and the 5 family members were jailed for between 5 to 10 years. Yeah. 5 to 10 years. I told you this was
you
heavy.
Sold weed to your fucking family member?
Yeah.
Life!
Yeah. But,
oh my God.
But skinning a boy alive, eating his flesh.
You can't tell parents what to do with their kids.
I mean, boys will be boys. And then feeding it to him. Feeding it to him. 5 to 10 years. I could get more for a traffic violation.
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely need to watch something that's from Disney after this.
So next up, we're not quite over yet. Stephen Griffins. He was a Yorkshire.
Gryffindor?
He was like the Yorkshire Ripper obsessed. He was. I'm sorry. Let me back up. He was a Yorkshire Ripper obsessed. Stephen Griffins had studied the serial killers during. And I guess it was, I didn't do any research on the Yorkshire Ripper, but apparently he was
He's
obsessed
like
with
Jack
them.
the Ripper.
Kind of.
He's like
but
the
just,
French Ripper.
kind of. But just a different Ripper.
He just ripped differently.
It was like one of the rip eyes. So he had studied several serial killers during a PhD in criminology and achieved his dream of becoming infamous himself. So in 2010...
He studied criminology?
He did. So he was like obsessed
That's a smart criminal.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it is. So in 2010, he planned the deaths of 3 prostitutes in Bradford, then murdered and chopped them up before cooking and eating their flesh. The self-styled crossbow cannibal idolized serial killer Peter, I believe his name is Sutcliffe, even filmed some of his crimes at his home in Bradford, which he dubbed the slaughterhouse. I mean, this guy was a fucking sicko. The 40-year-old told police...
love that shit.
Right. So the 40-year-old told police...
People are gross.
It was eating his victims was part of his magic. Dead serious. That's a quote from him.
Yeah, because it's a fountain of youth and
Yeah.
stuff. Or something
So, and I
weird.
think that's where a lot of this comes from. So,
These satanic, fucked up...
yeah. So he was convicted of murders, and he was told he would never leave jail, and he didn't. So, anyway, all right, moving on.
It's like...
Yeah.
I don't even know what I was going to
It's
ask.
just tough.
Wow.
So next we have George Beltero Negromonte. George with a
Great.
J.
Uncle?
With a J. Yep.
Oh,
Brazilian.
with J, that's fine. Jorge?
Yes, Brazilian George baked his flesh on his female victims into pies before selling them to unsuspecting customers on the streets. Exactly.
Is this the fucking inspiration for the play?
The so-called Sweeney Todd cannibal? His wife Isabel Pyers and Ivora Bruna Oliveira lured young women to the home they shared in Brazil by offering them work as a nanny before murdering them and feasting on their dead bodies in a grisly purification ritual. Pyers would then use the remaining flesh to make traditional stuffed meat pastries. When the group were finally caught...
That's literally Sweeney Todd.
Yes, exactly. When they were finally caught, the police officer leading the investigation admitted he had been a fan of the family's homemade pies himself.
You're so tender and different.
Yeah, so he reportedly butchered
What
one...
if you found that out?
Right, and
Little bird.
I will get you on a little story here in a minute when we talk about somebody else. So he reportedly butchered one young woman in front of her 18-month-old daughter, then fed the toddler pieces of her mother the next day for lunch.
Well, at least he took care of the baby. Oh my god.
Yeah. So last year, so I guess it was 2018. The trio was found guilty of 3 murders and jailed for between 68 and 71 years. I don't know why it's not just life. I don't understand it, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Maybe if you're good, it'll only be 68.
I don't get it. I'm just trying to belt through these as fast as I can because I know it's horrific for everybody. Anyway, so. And of course, the creme de la creme sauce, or whatever the word is.
That was the end of the course?
Yes.
Are we on to a new course?
No, this is the end one.
Oh, the creme de la creme.
Thank you.
The final course.
The final course, Jeffrey Dahmer. So,
here we go.
as we know, he is the Milwaukee cannibal.
I didn't know he was from Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, that's where the murder took place. I think actually he was from Ohio. So, good on Chris.
Great. That's where my boyfriend's from.
Yes. So he...
Chris Carmel, who also has a food name. He's going to eat me.
No, he's not. He would be too scared.
Not like that.
Not like that. He gonna get in your sting chamber later.
Ow,
Okay.
wow.
Gross.
What?
Okay, so he was also called the Milwaukee Monster. Milwaukee Monster.
I thought you were saying he's
Milwaukee.
known as the Cookie Monster.
He's also known as the Cookie Monster. You know how you do.
Or the Human Flesh Eater.
So he had a...
What if...
God.
Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Cookie Monster.
Oh my god.
Bet you didn't know that.
Sick. Sick. So, he had relatively normal upbringing, although his parents have very different views on that, which I'll talk about kind of in a minute. No, I'll just talk about it now. So in an interview with Stone Phillips, which was the only on-camera interviews that Jeffrey Dahmer gave after the murders. His parents divorced after a number of his childhood years, apparently. As Dahmer entered first grade, Joyce, his mother, began to spend an increasing amount of time in bed recovering from weakness. I don't really know what that means, but I mean,
I think knew what was coming.
I think she was just like, I'm just really. I think that she was, you know what, a boss bitch for just like calling it what it is. She's just like, I'm just fucking tired. You guys are fucking assholes and just take, and I just need a minute. And so she's like, you know what? They're just like, no, she just has the weakness. So so apparently he describes it in his book as the dad actually wrote a book. And
I was like, did Jeffrey Dahmer write a book?
No, he never did. So the dad did. So
it's like, I gotta get some money out of this shit.
Oh, jeez. I mean, the dad, I feel like, kind of did, which was kind of fucked up. But so anyway, so Lionel's university studies. Lionel was his father's name. So Lionel, he worked at the university, and his studies kept him away from the home much of the time. When he was home, his wife, who he claims was a hypochondriac, suffered from depression and demanded constant attention. She reportedly worked herself into a state of anxiety over trivial matters simply to appease her husband. Like, what if she was like actually having like visions of like her fucking son eating somebody's like fucking flesh, and like, you need to lie down and take this pill.
Crazy woman, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're weak.
Exactly.
Lay down, you crazy.
Yeah. So she once attempted suicide with Equinol. I'm not sure what that is, but
Jesus, what the fuck's that?
So
you're gonna bring it back to the fucking forefront,
right? But no matter what, like, neither one of them really spent that much time with their kid.
Between Equinol and fucking writing a book.
And honestly, like, so when they were having this, just to back up a little bit, so when Dahmer was having this interview with Stone Phillips, it was really bizarre. So like, they were doing like, they gave like all the extra footage because like it was his only on-air footage. So I was like just in this deep fucking rabbit hole, and it was just like, he was just walked up to him and he was just like, yeah, no, this is a good time to come down and do this interview. Like, the weather was treating you really nice. I mean, he has like this ASMR voice. Like, he was like, yeah, no, like, and Stone Phillips is just like, oh yeah, really? Like, was it really bad the other night? He's like, yeah, no, we had like a really nasty snowstorm coming the other day. So fucking weird. And then he's just sitting right next to his dad, intimately detailing what he would do to the bodies and like how it would like get him off and all of these things. And his dad was just like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. I mean, it was just so fucking weird. It was the weirdest interview I've ever watched. Oh my God. Ever watched. Anyway.
When was this?
Like, this was year? In 1990.
Did he have glasses?
92, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you probably have seen
maybe
snippets
clips
of that, yeah.
He was blonde.
It's interesting, yeah. It's really, really fast. But he put it all on the table. So
at least he was,
yeah. And you'll find out why. Oh, don't you worry. You'll find out why. And you're just like,
oh, he got paid?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. Mm-hmm. He got laid.
Oh, he wishes. Otherwise, that wouldn't have been the problem. He would have not killed anybody. Okay, so anyway, so throughout high school, jumping back into this, throughout high school, he began to experiment with fetal pigs. He would get in science class. Did you ever do that little dissection?
I've only done frogs.
I only did frogs.
I didn't have anatomy.
You got to do. That's why I didn't do anatomy, because you had to dissect a cat. And I couldn't dissect.
Dude, our anatomy class had to do something with human cadavers.
That's foul. It's not.
I didn't do that shit.
It's not foul, but like, I don't know if I could ever do that.
They did some shit with human cadavers.
Yeah. I couldn't even like,
I don't need to know about this.
No,
so I'm just gonna take stats.
I couldn't even.
Which is math.
I couldn't even like do like a cat. So I knew I couldn't do a human being. But like, no, we didn't.
Better watch it.
Right. Anatomy only did cats, and I think they did fetal pigs, but we didn't do like cadavers or anything like that. God, what kind of
I
fucking high
hope I
school
didn't
did you
make
go
this
to?
up. Fort Collins High School, home of the Lambkin.
You did cadavers?
Someone needs to DM me if they went to Fort Collins High School and
did
tell
anatomy?
me. I'm pretty sure they did human. They did a day where they either saw them. I don't know if they dissected them.
Okay, that's fair. Like they just saw them and like they.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they just saw them.
Maybe.
I don't
Oh,
know.
that's still too much.
I
know.
know.
See, that just shows like I could never be in like the medical profession.
I was in zoology and microbiology while my friends were taking anatomy.
We-
Okay.
We were in Texas. You can do biology, earth science, chemistry,
Creationism.
creationism, Mormonism. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
Baptism.
Right. Pretty much like Southern Baptists. I'm a dick.
I'm
Okay.
a dick. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I love Texas. Don't mess with Texas.
Oh, fuck. Okay, anyway. That was a nice little break, actually, from all this gruesomeness.
Oh, yeah, let's get back into it, shall
Okay,
we?
here we go. Okay,
Texas
so Texas.
with a dollar sign.
Texas with the dollar sign. So anyway, so he began to experiment with like fetal pigs. So just the fascination, but just right then, like just the fascination with cutting open shit and that kind of stuff. So like he isn't like killing anything yet.
Just cutting it open and
Just
liking
cutting
how
it
felt.
open, right?
Huh?
So at 18, he committed his first murder on June 18th. So he picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Mark Hicks, who was almost 19, and Dahmer lured the youth to his house on the pretext of the young men drinking alcohol together, which, you know, again, who doesn't want to just drink alcohol?
Right?
on.
And if you're a 19-year-old guy hitchhiking
Right?
and some 18-year-old picks you
Right?
up, you're like,
You're
yeah,
like,
let's go party, bro.
Let's go get some booze. Let's get
Innocent
weird.
as fuck.
Let's
It's
get
like,
weird.
what, the
Yeah.
70s?
Yeah, this was like what? This was I think this was like around 78-ish, right before the 80s. So, I could be way wrong about that, but I think it was in the 70s. So, according to Dahmer, after several hours of drinking and listening to music, Hicks wanted to leave, and just Dahmer didn't want him to. So, like you do to convince somebody, you kill him. He bludgeoned him with a 10-pound dumbbell. He later stated he struck Hicks twice from behind. He struck. I was like, he
stuck his wiener?
He stuck his wiener in it. Okay, so anyway, he struck him twice from behind with a dumbbell as Hicks sat upon a chair. When Hicks fell unconscious, Dahmer strangled him to death with a bar of the dumbbell, then stripped the clothes from Hicks' body before masturbating as he stood above the corpse. The following day, Dahmer dissected Hicks's body in his basement. You know, I love that I'm yelling loud enough that I'm hoping I'm luring them to sleep. My roommate and her boyfriend, to lullaby land.
Yeah.
With about this poor man's body getting masturbated over. Anyway, so Jesus. He dissected his body in his basement. Of his parents' basement,
I know, I was
by the
just
way.
going to say, does his parents live there?
No, they do, but they don't know. So he later buried the remains in a...
Don't know what's going on downstairs. Deep, 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 deep.
Do you want some pizza pockets?
No.
I made some snacks for your friends. He later buried the remains in a shallow grave in his backyard. Before several weeks later, who else is buried in the backyard? Shameless plug. Who's buried in the backyard of California?
Oh, Kristen.
She's there.
Fucking dig up the goddamn yards.
That's not funny. But I just want her found. Anyway, so...
I know. I need to see if there's any more podcast episodes because
Right?
I know that they talked to some cops.
Right?
Recently.
So I'm kind of curious.
I'll
Anyway.
have to inform you guys later. Anyways. Hashtag Kristen D. Smart. Find Kristen D. Smart.
Find Kristen D. Smart. So he buried him in a shallow grave in the backyard before several weeks later unearthing the remains and then taking more flesh off the bone. He dissolved the flesh in acid before flushing the solution down the toilet, and then he crushed the bones with a sledgehammer and scattered them in the woodland area behind the family home. So, for his first murder, Jesus fucking Christ.
All right,
damn.
got that one under my belt.
Right?
Jesus.
Good thing I didn't think that one through at all. Jesus Christ.
Oh my.
So, side note also, that was the only one that I'm going to go in severe detail with because he killed 17 people. So, we're not going to go one by one. And anyway, so, but I'll tell you like this. So, this is kind of like his routine. This is what really would happen. So, throughout the 80s, he would frequent gay bars and bathhouses, which I'm not quite sure what a bathhouse is compared to anything else.
Does a bathhouse just mean people are like
I don't know if it's
naked?
I don't know if it's like just a kind of like almost like a brothel,
naked?
but like a different kind of brothel. I'm not quite sure what it is. I didn't look it up. I'll just
like
be
a
honest.
like people are just like
I don't know. So
sex house.
a sex house.
I don't know about these things.
So he would frequent a bathhouse essentially to find his victims. We don't got no bathhouses here in Fort Collins.
I have a bath in my house.
I got a house of baths. So he didn't give like a flying fuck of what creed or race they were. As long as you were male, you made the cut. Literally.
Oh, hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So there were a lot of victims. Again, 17 to be exact.
And they were all young boys.
They were all young boys. They were all
the
male.
young boys.
The young boys. Back home in the stockyards. Okay. No.
Why am I laughing so much?
Because it's
I don't have enough
uncomfortable.
to
Because it's
do.
uncomfortable. So he would meet them at a gay bar, like I was saying. Like this. So this is really like the rundown of what that would happen. So he would meet them at a gay bar or a bathhouse or a mall. Or a mall, which is a really weird sentence.
Or a mall.
You know, in the food court, like you do. But like, I just imagine like this, like awful like 90s, even though it was in the 80s, but like just like because I mean back in the
Fucking
80s,
mall madness,
and then
mall.
back in the 80s and the 90s, like the malls were like the fucking like I remember getting like dropped off at the fucking mall for hours.
I remember wanting
hours.
to be dropped off at the mall.
Right? And you would
Never be
stay
there alone.
But you would stay there for hours and then you would like dick around and then you would go see a movie and you would just be at the mall for fucking hours. I remember being at my Barton Creek Mall in Austin, Texas. Fucking for hours.
Just
Crazy.
fucking for
Just fucking in the KB toys section for hours. Getting my Princess
Fucking in that ball
Amidala
pit
dolls
for hours.
for hours. Going to my GB Goody and my freaking Hot Topic.
Someone else is going to my GB Goody while I was getting a CD.
See the D.
Hashtag fucking for hours in the mall.
C and the D. CD.
I got my afterthoughts and my Claire's.
Did you have afterthoughts back then? I did not have afterthoughts back when I was a wee lad.
I did.
Afterthoughts was not a thing. It was Claire's.
It was an afterthought.
It wasn't even icing.
Yeah, icing was very 2000s.
No, but it wasn't afterthoughts. It was just Claire's. It was Claire's, and you go to Spencer's. No, Spencer's wasn't even the mall. It was Claire's. It was like fucking JV Goody or FYE, or there was another one
For your entertainment. I remember those.
That was a good one. There was another
Planet Hollywood, the movie rental.
That
That was not in the mall.
was Hollywood Video. Planet Hollywood was that strain of like failed, like it was like it was Planet Hollywood,
like
I
the
guess. It was like
fucked
hard.
up
It was
Blockbuster.
like Hard Rock Cafe. No. Hollywood Video was like the fucked up. It was like the ghetto Blockbuster. Planet Hollywood was like freaking Hard Rock, but like on steroids. It was like that's not right. Fucking dumb bitch.
I am so drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
No, you're not. Okay. Anyway.
Can we hurry up and finish
I
this
know.
goddamn
I need like a
story?
breath, man. Okay.
I know. We needed those breaks.
I know. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Okay,
Here we go, number one.
Here we go, number one. So he would he would go to bathhouses and shit like that. And then he would entice them with free alcohol and money, as you do on most of my dates. Anyway.
Hey,
If they,
you guys want some free alcohol and money?
right? I'm like, who
Yes,
doesn't?
I do.
I do. If they agreed to pose for photographs, that's how they would get the booze.
Hey, do you want a free fucking wristband to Firefest?
Right? They're like, put on this leather jacket and these assless chaps. And they're like, done. Give me that 6-pack of Coors.
Oh no. What are we even talking about? Just kidding.
What are we even doing? Oh my god. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so once alone, he would drug them, sometimes torture them, and then kill them, usually by strangulation, unfortunately. He would then, again, masturbate over the corpse or have sex with the corpse, so he's really into necrophilia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he would cut the body open and get rid of the remains. He actually felt bad if he wasn't even attracted to them because he's like, it was just a useless killing because he didn't even have sex with the body. Dead serious. We're going to get to the cooking, I swear.
My God.
He also kept parts of the...
So what?
Yeah. So he would feel guilty only when...
He just had to, like, fucking, like,
right.
itch the scratch.
Right. But he even said to, like, Stone Phillips in that interview, because Stone Phillips asked the question, like, did you get off on... He's like, no. He's like, actually... verbatim. The killing was just a means to an end. I didn't have any satisfaction. It just is how I had to get to my satisfaction. So he didn't enjoy the killing. So he wasn't justifying it, but he was just like, I mean, I wasn't into like killing them, like, but it was just a means to the end to get to that. I needed to
power.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, it's so sad and gross. How do people think like that?
I don't know. I mean, his parents say that he had a normal upbringing, but obviously there's no fucking way. There's no way. Either I think his mom is lying, and I think his dad is lying as well.
1,000.
100%.
It's always probably stems from a parental figure.
Or some type of abuse or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so after he would, do whatever he felt like he needed to do to the dead body, sexually, he would then cut up the body and get rid of the remains. He also kept parts of the bodies, including the skulls, which he would clean, like bleach them. And I guess he did this with his like roadkill collection, so he would clean the bones. And his dad actually taught him to do it, weirdly enough. Like, he was like, oh, how do you clean this chicken? And his dad, which I think he was like a microbiologist, was like, oh, he's just a super curious boy. I'm so proud of him for just wanting to use his brain. And he used those same techniques into like cleaning the bones of his victims. So he would bleach the bones and clean them off. Anyway, oh God, I hate just saying that shit so casually because it's disgusting. Anyway, so he then often refrigerated organs, which he would then occasionally eat. There was actually 2 occasions where he actually tried to make zombies. Yes, you heard me correctly. I see the look on your face. Yes, zombies.
He tried to make zombies.
Yeah, so he could control them because he didn't want them to leave. And he actually his perfect thing, which is why he would kill these people and like want to consume them, is because he wanted to control them, right? So what he really wanted to do was to make essentially a slave that would just do his, like a zombie, like, and that he can control them.
So how would he go about doing this?
So he drilled a hole in one of his victims' heads and poured muriatic acid into it. The one victim that he actually tried this, well, actually he tried this on 2. One of the victims that he tried this on lived and woke up and then complained of a headache, and then Dahmer got annoyed and then bashed his, like, actually no, he just killed him. I think he strangled him. The second,
so wait, that would just make them like compliant to everything?
He was just experimenting.
Or that they're like great. He was just experimenting.
That's what he wanted. He wanted them to make them compliant to everything. Yeah. And then that they would just be his sex slave, and that they would just want to really be I mean, he was a sick dude, but he had a normal childhood, right?
Oh, completely fucking normal childhood.
So the next victim,
and completely normal ancestral genes, I'm sure. The fuck?
100%. So the second victim was
Hashtag ancestral healing.
Jesus. No, for real though. So the second victim was sedated, and then Dahmer twice injected boiling water into his skull. So just think about that for a second. So
no, I thought about it long enough.
Yes.
I don't need to.
So, but thankfully for this guy,
I thought about it. There it is.
it
and I don't
sent
like
him into like an instant coma. So, and then he died like 2 days later. So he did not wake up, thank God, from that.
So he just like randomly thought of this shit.
was
You can't
just-
like Google that shit in the fucking 80s.
Yeah, this was like 19. Yeah, this
Not
was
that
like,
you
no,
should Google things.
No, but
like
this was,
that.
but yeah, this was like the late 80s, early 90s. So like, yeah, he was just experimenting.
Like literally, you literally are probably literally like.
100%.
Well, I wonder if this will work.
Yep, that's exactly what he was doing. So, and there actually was one victim that almost got away. He was a 14-year-old boy. And so early in the morning, the victim was seen wandering the streets nude and disoriented. When police arrived on the scene, there were paramedics, two women who were standing close by to the confused boy, and Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer told police that the victim was his 19-year-old lover who was drunk and the two had quarreled. I'm sure that he's a late bloomer. He's a 14-year-old boy, and he's 19 years old. I can't believe the cops were like, that's a child. Get the fuck out of here. Like, oh my God. Anyway, or he was like a really early bloomer, and he was like freaking like, what, 4 or 5 feet tall, not 4 feet
He
tall.
was like 4.
He was like
4 feet tall.
4 feet tall. He was great. So anyway, so the police escorted Dahmer and the boy back to Dahmer's apartment. Much against the protest of like the women who were with them. They're like,
this is
I'm
weird.
no detective, but like, I smell something fishy.
You're a woman. Shut up.
And that's exactly. Well, I'm sure the police were like, "Woman, go back in the kitchen.
Woman,
like,
get to cleaning.
Yeah, get out of here." So, because they had witnessed the victim like fighting, even in his like he was like his body was like just trying to fight Dahmer off, even though he was drugged. They witnessed like the victim fighting off Dahmer before the police had arrived. So they were like, maybe don't. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just ripped this out.
Are you sure? Oh, you did, because you can't hear probably.
I can't.
No, you're fine.
I thought I broke something.
No, you're fine. Didn't even hear it.
I just slammed my feet on the ground.
You're okay, because it's ridiculous. So the police they went up to his apartment, Dahmer's apartment, and they found it neat, and other than noticing an unpleasant smell, nothing seemed amiss. So they left him under Dahmer's care. Later, the police officers joked with the dispatcher about reuniting the lovers. Within hours, Dahmer killed the 14-year-old and performed his usual ritual on the body. So he was so close to getting out.
Wow, those cops really got good sixth senses.
They actually, I think, later in like one of the documentaries that I watched, they did say that those two cops were dismissed from after they found out that
they were held accountable for fucking being ridiculous.
Yeah, so they actually were fired. So,
good.
Yeah. So in the interview,
so wait, you can be fired for like not being a smart fucking cop.
Yeah, because good to know. There are good police officers out there, and there are good police. So that's a good thing to hear. Even back in the corrupt 90s, seriously.
For real.
90s were fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So throughout the interview, like of Stone Phillips, he touches on the reasons why he did did what he did. Dahmer did what he did, and the main question was why cannibalism, right? So Jeffrey's answer was simple. Well, he wanted his victims to be part of him. Like he didn't ever want them to leave. He never wanted them to leave. Just, I mean, my thought is like there's just like some deep dark abandonment issues there.
Wow.
So that was just the simple
normal childhood.
Right. So it was just like it wasn't like there was a sense of power of controlling them, but it was just like he felt more of the ritual and he would get off on it when he would eat them because it was like they were now a part of him and they would never ever leave him. I mean, it was fucked. I mean, he's a dark guy.
Yikes.
Yeah. They also talked about why Dahmer thinks like they try to ask him like what led him to this life of carnage, And he claimed he didn't know, but he thinks the absence of God in his life was the reason why he did what he did. Yeah. So he claims that when he got to jail, he was a born-again Christian. And if he had Jesus in his life before, he probably wouldn't have killed those people.
Well,
so
hindsight's 2020, isn't it?
True. So he's like, so I accept the Lord and Jesus Christ, my, however you say that, my Savior or whatever, and I'm pretty sure it was the lack of that, you know, that's the reason why I killed them. Not anything with mental health at all.
No.
Yeah. Let's not even talk about the mental health issue. It was because he was absent of Jesus in his fucking life. No comment.
Wow.
Anyway, in July of 1991, which I'm all about, like, if you need to believe in something, that sometimes that does make you a different person, 100%. But, like, let's not negate the underlying severe mental health issue going on that he's just sidestepping.
He had a severe mental.
But he's just like, he's not even saying that he has that. He's just
like,
it's just because
he doesn't have the mental capacity to say that he had the mental capacity to do that.
Right. So in July of 1991, one of his
it's because Jesus didn't take the goddamn wheel.
It's true. So
Jesus.
So in July of 1991, another victim escaped, but thank God he actually got out, and he led police back to his apartment. And Dahmer was arrested, and his apartment was searched. So what was in his apartment? A human head and 3 bags of organs, which included 2 hearts, were found in his refrigerator. Oh, also a box of Arm & Hammer, a baking soda, just to keep that stench out. Dead serious though. Dead serious.
Sponsor us.
Dead serious.
Arm & Hammer getting all the scents
out. He had
out.
nothing in the fridge except body parts and like a big thing of baking soda to like just pull those scents in. So he had 3 heads, a torso, and various internal organs were inside the freestanding freezer. Chemicals, formaldehyde, ether, chloroform, plus 2 skulls, 2 hands, and male genitalia were found in the closet. In the closet. God. A filing cabinet that contained 3 painted skulls, a skeleton, a dried scalp, male genitalia, and various photographs of his victims. There was a box with 2 skulls inside. There was a 57-gallon vat filled with acid and 3 torsos. Victims' identifications were all over the place.
Where the fuck did he live?
Right? Bleach used.
Why did he have so much, like, what did he do besides, like, eat people? Where did he work?
I forgot. I didn't write it down. He worked at the chocolate factory.
Oh
my God. I forgot about that. He worked at
in Milwaukee?
Yes, it was called the Ambrosia Chocolate Factory. And he worked there throughout his, like, most of his killings. I forgot to write that down. I'm dead serious. You can look it up. It was called the Ambrosia. He was like...
This is cooking, Shay.
He was like...
You did it again.
He's like Johnny Depp's Sweeney Todd and Willy Wonka all mixed together.
Because that Willy Wonka that he did was real creepy and weird. And
right.
I felt like he ate little babies.
And then he also played Sweeney Todd. So... Wow. There you go. So yeah, he worked at the chocolate factory while he was doing all of this. And apparently, I guess during that time, like, his neighbors would complain of a smell, and they're just like, and he would just like, oh, it's just some bad meat in a freezer. It's fine. And there's actually another interview, not an interview, but it was like a home candid film, whatever, of him like at home, and his dad was filming him. And he's talking about how, like, oh, I'm eating at home more now. And this was, like, right around when he was getting arrested. He's like, oh, I'm eating at home more now because, you know, just eating out is just way more expensive. Because the dad's asking him, like, you look like you've lost weight. And he was losing weight probably because he wasn't eating
anything but his victims.
So anyway, there was a 57-gallon vat filled with acid and 3 torsos. And there's, again, victims' identifications all over the place. There was bleach used to bleach the skulls and bones. There's insect sticks just all around. Again, like, because neighbors often complain of the smell. So there's some tools. There was the claw hammer.
Oh my God.
What?
I just can't think about being that neighbor.
Right? Well,
I mean, like, what the fuck is coming from your house? And
So,
it's fucking torsos and
apparently-
fucking wieners.
apparently one of the
In your
neighbors
closet.
was really like close to him, and she was this cute little black lady, and she said in one of the interviews, she's like, he used to make me sandwiches and I would eat them, and she's like, I'm kind of thinking that he fed me people.
You think?
Yeah.
He definitely did. He didn't have anything else.
So she has to live kind of with that. But yeah, he would just like, oh, it's just some bad meat in my freezer. And
Why would you ever want a sandwich made by him if his house smells like bad meat?
But she would take the food. Yeah. So
Don't
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, so here's some of the tools he had. He had a claw hammer, a handsaw, a couple different drills and drill bits. And again, I'm just telling you what the police found. There was like hypodermic needles, there's various videos, like some pornographic, and there was a blood-soaked mattress and blood spatters everywhere. So yikes. Okay.
And he just
So-
lived in that.
He just lived in that. In the stinks. He just had air fresheners everywhere. So
And it was all because of Jesus.
It's all
wasn't
because of Jesus.
there.
So the trial was a whirlwind, even some testimony on the cannibalism techniques, obviously what I described. One victim he also described, he put like the Crisco on a bicep, and it softened it, and then he softened it with a meat tenderizer and fried it on a skillet. So again, this is about cooking, so I had to get the techniques. God.
I forgot.
God, I'm gonna need like fuck.
I need to watch Ratatouille.
Yeah, a different kind of cooking show. So he did plead guilty, and the trial was just like the argue of whether he was sane or not. The jury decided that he was absolutely
insane.
that he was fucking sane, and I believe he got like a handful of like life sentences. So, however, he only carried out 2 years. Because he then was beaten to death by a fellow inmate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Apparently, he would make really crude, dark jokes about how he killed people, and I guess the guy was like, I just didn't like his fucking sense of humor. And
Good.
he beat him to death. And then actually that same inmate was actually charged again with beating somebody else to death, so. But, took Jeffrey Dahmer out, which probably wasn't the worst thing in the world. So, the end. Okay, that's all done now.
Well, thanks for
Told
listening to
you
30ish.
It was a little rough.
Holy shit, Shay.
I know.
You got us real good this week.
I did. It was pretty bad.
It was good, though.
Yeah.
But that was clever as fuck, and hey.
I know.
Fucking
Okay.
Crisco on the bicep. All right. Well, with that being said,
Yay.
we thank you all for being here with us today.
Seriously, if you're still with
On
us,
30ish.
way to be. Thank you.
We're proud of you. We'll send you a sticker, a gold star.
Seriously. Holy crap.
Thanks for listening to us, and always. And if it's your first time, welcome. I hope you come back.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, we like to keep things weird and funky, so as you all know. Anyways, if you don't already, follow us on Instagram, THURDYISH.
Yeah.
Keep DMing us fucking funny memes that we can repost, because we love to do that shit. Let us know what you're thinking of us. Send us your topic suggestions. We always love those. Write us a review on Apple if you're a listener on Apple. We always love that, because that helps other people get to know us too.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, also, I keep saying I'm going to put a shout out on Facebook or Instagram again, but send me your fucking 90s songs.
For real.
I'm making the ultimate fucking playlist.
Bum, bum, bum.
And then
I don't
What's
know
the
why
best?
I'm like your fucking DJ, like making annoying sounds. Like, anyway, go on.
I love
I'm
it.
sorry, everybody.
Thank you. You're the soundboard for this segment.
Boo.
So yeah, thank you. We love you. Sweet. Should we roll the dice to see what we're gonna fucking talk about next week?
Hopefully it's not cooking, because
Jesus.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, let me find my shit.
Next time I have to print something at your
Place?
place, we should print our list.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
So then we can just put it right there.
Here we go now. Here we go
To
now.
see it. There we go. Number 1. Nostalgia. Pop culture.
Okay, nice.
I knew
Yeah.
that. All right. If I roll 1, I'm going to roll again.
Okay.
6.
It's paranormal.
Ooh.
Sweet.
That's fun.
That is fun.
All right. I like some paranormal.
I dig it. Okay.
Sweet. Well, it's been fun, Shay, and
It has
I'm
been
going to
fun.
have to go watch something really
Nice.
fucking
And nice.
happy now.
That's fair.
And hopefully not dream about my Uncle George strapping me to a butcher's table when I'm 5.
You're not. It's going to be fine.
It's fine. It was always like literally like 5 seconds of just like, ah! And then that was the end of my dream.
Oh, well, then that's good.
Isn't
You didn't
that
die.
weird?
That's
I
okay.
never died, but I was always strapped to the butcher's table.
It's not too weird. It'd be weirder if, I don't know.
We're not going to even go into how weirder it could be. So with that note, thanks, Shay.
Thanks, Bria.
Thank you guys. Love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.